It is exactly 100 days until the U.S. presidential election. As the race heats up between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, it's been a whirlwind week, really, in U.S. politics. Still lots of unknowns, though, on how the presidential race may play out. For now, the momentum looks to be on Kamala Harris's side. Her campaign has raised more than $200 million in less than a week after key endorsements and favorable polling numbers. Joining me now is political and social commentator Avis Jones-DeWeever. Avis, thank you as always for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
It's been quite a week. Well, it's been quite a 2 weeks in politics for the Americans. You guys, you don't do things simple, do you?
No, we're a little dramatic. We're drama queens over here.
Holy cow. But the Democratic convention is next. What can we expect leading into that from both parties, actually?
Yeah, so in terms of the Democrats, a very important day is August 7th. So what's happening on August 7th is when Vice President Harris will become officially the candidate for the Democratic Party. There's going to be a virtual meeting that where the delegates can actually vote virtually prior to the actual convention, and they need to do that in order to meet certain state deadlines to get her on the ballot in all 50 states. So that's the next marker. And then after that, all eyes are going to be towards the convention. It has been amazing to see the bounce that she has provided the Democrats in the polls. She's literally closed the gap in several key states with Donald Trump just in a week's time. And so what's going to be interesting to watch out for is, will there be an additional bounce at the conclusion of the Democratic convention? If so, that would be a very, very encouraging tailwind that she'll have going forward into the final months of the election.
Well, it felt like the weight was lifted off the Democrats and they had some direction.
Yes, absolutely. Because honestly, it was really a very ugly moment there, right? When you had literally tons of Democrats coming out publicly saying, trying to convince President Biden to step down. You saw a New York Times opinion by George Clooney publicly sort of saying, I'm not going to donate any money to the Democratic Party unless you step down. You had also other major donors privately saying that they were going to close their pocketbooks. And so it was really an ugly moment. But I will say that when Biden addressed the nation, he did something that, in contrast, I could never see a Donald Trump do. He very simply stated, I love this office, but I love the country more than I love this position. So he put the country's future ahead of his own ambitions. And that's really what's necessary in order for the Democrats to have the best opportunity to win in November.
And this will, the convention now will almost be a celebration as to before they were looking at maybe they didn't know what they were looking at for the convention, but now it's a celebration for them, isn't it?
It is going to be a celebration. It's going to be historic. It's going to be energy off the chain. What she's done is literally breathed life into this party. I mean, I do believe that there were lots of folks, honestly, that did love Joe Biden and that voted for him and wanted to see him continue his candidacy. And quite frankly, he has given her a gift in terms of a presidency that has accomplished a number of major goals that have benefited the American people. But the bottom line is he was having a hard time winning over certain demographics. He was having a hard time really energizing the base. And so she has been able to step in and benefit from the track record of this administration, but also inject the energy into this party that he was unfortunately unable to do.
Now, with Trump, he's still ahead in the polls. What does he do over the next couple of weeks as the convention becomes the focus? How does he try to take away from that?
He's going to need to try to figure out some real messaging. He is ahead slightly, but it's within the margin of error, and the gap has significantly closed. So the momentum is going in the direction of the Harris campaign. And so clearly their initial instincts in terms of really hearkening to racism and sexism with regards to attacks on her isn't working. So they're going to have to figure out what will be be those attacks. Another thing that honestly, this would be a wild card. I'm assuming they won't do it. But the reality is that his vice presidential pick is a dud. He's an embarrassment. It would be, like I said, we're drama queens over here. I don't know whether he would try to get rid of him. But the bottom line is he's not helping. He's not helping to expand their reach to other people that they need besides their base. And so they're going to have to figure out how can they not only energize those people who would have voted for him anyway, because they have him. How can they reach out to independents? How can they maybe sway some key demographics? I know that at one point they were going after Black men very aggressively. Are they going to be able to do that now? Like, those are some things that they need to rethink and figure out. And is he actually going to face her in a debate? Like right now, he seems to be backpedaling from that, literally.
Oh, okay. Avis, thank you as always for your insight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Political and social commentator Avis Jones-DeWeever.